I'm Seher Zama. Continuing with breaking inputs on this horrid murder case, we at NewsX have accessed the entire timeline now of the night of the crime. How Sanjeev Khanna, Indrani Mukherjee killed Sheena Bora. Using call records as well as on what's spoken on the internet so far, police hacked out the line of the news. Losing this
last part as this investigation proceeds and eventually a trial begins, and it indeed begins this case. The first call between Sanjeev Khanna and Indrani Mukherjee at 4 p.m. on the 24th of April, the crucial day of murder, on the 24th of April, 4 p.m. Then a second call just 5 minutes later in reverse. Indrani calls up Sanjeev. Then over the period of the next few hours, as you can see, call number 3, 4:15 p.m. Every few minutes, they are exchanging calls back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Number 4. Then there is a number 5th call. At several times, Indrani is calling Sanjeev. Several times, Sanjeev is calling Indrani. The conversations are short, but they are repeated. And as these calls pile up, this is all taking place roughly between the time when Sanjeev lands at the airport at about 3:40 till the point that he, according to the cell phone data, meets up with Indrani later on at about 6 o'clock. Later on at about 6 o'clock, and about 6:30 we know that they allegedly met with Sheena Bora. The last call in this entire sequence of events, the conversation that is happening between the two of them is listed at about 6:10 p.m. So at 6:10 p.m. the last call takes place between Indrani and Sanjeev Khanna. Now, on the basis of these call records, we know the timings, we know the durations of the phone conversations. The cell towers also give us locations, and I'm going to take you through them one by one. At 3:40 p.m. on the 24th of April, this is the Chhatrapati Shivaji International Airport, where Sanjeev Khanna has just landed. He is then, and the second cell tower marking that we managed to access is at the Burley Hotel. So Sanjeev Khanna travels from the Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminal to Burley Hotel, marked at the cell location. I'm going to one stitch this out for, but back.
All right, really thanks for the time.
Today's preliminary, but what Rishabh has spoken is very significant. At least the movement, the physical and the material movement of Mr. Khanna is established in Mumbai.
That's right. In his confession, of course, he's very conveniently stated that he was in the same car where the murder took place, but he was asleep. So he's not really denying the fact of where his location was at the time of the murder. Chandni, bringing you in at this point on how this really reflects on how premeditated this was, how well planned this was, and well executed for the manner in which it remained hidden for 3 years.
That's true. I mean, that's the horrifying thing that is emerging out of this material evidence that the cops have now got. You know, the fact is that all the talk amounts to nothing until evidence is found. And this is start of the putting together of that jigsaw puzzle. You know, taking it forward from what Kartikeya was saying, it is going to be very, very important for them to prove every single thing that they've been saying. And this is proof that there was connection between Indrani and Sanjeev Khanna, her ex-husband, that she had booked a hotel for him. They were together, and from the time he landed to the time that Sheena was murdered, allegedly by then, you know, now the cops are going to start filling in the blanks and telling us step by step what's going to happen. And say, hey, remember, this is the first call records that have come out, which we've accessed. And now we are hoping to see call records between, you know, Indrani, who had called up Sheena, and that is going to be the next part of this, really.
That's right, and the calls that were shared between her and her driver as well, because him being one of the accused now expected to turn a prover because he's helped the police really track down the location of the death site here. Kartikeya, as we've been saying, this being the first step here in bringing forth, in piling up the evidence, because so far how the sequence of events has been constructed is only been based on those confessions that the police has got.
You see, there are three things when it comes to law. We have to understand that. One, motive has to be established. Once the motive is established, then the sequence of event has to be established. Once the sequence of event is established, then you need to establish a chain of people who can say and who can vouch for that sequence of events, which is witnesses, material evidence, or technical evidence. In this case, it is in the first stage, which means that the police is interrogating and taking down the confession and trying to build a sequence of event and trying to substantiate it materially, which is technical data, cell phone towers, or eyewitnesses account. But I think the last phase is the most important, which has not come into play now, when the lawyers speak, because ultimately these matters will go to court, and you have three layers. You have trial court, you have got high court, and you have got Supreme Court. And you have seen that in every stage of the trial, such cases have taken a different turn. For example, Arushi, you know, it came around, it took a full circle. So there are a number of cases like that. So I would say that right now it's the initial stage, and police is trying to reconstruct broadly everything and trying to prove that the body which they are trying to recover from that place in Raigad actually belongs to Indrani's daughter.
That's right. The next step in this direction of gathering in the evidence based on those confessions, going across to our resident editor, Saurav Sanyal, as well. This being the next step there, Saurav, as far as gathering in scientific proof here is concerned.
Well, absolutely. In fact, taking from where Kartikeya left, you know, this is definitely at the preliminary stage of the investigation. But what we have accessed clearly establishes the fact that, you know, Indrani Mukherjee had been in constant touch with Sanjeev Khanna, and that they were together on the day of the crime. Now, what happened after that? After they exchanged the last call at 6:10, what we now know is that then a call was subsequently made to Sheena Bora, and Sheena Bora was picked up in the SUV that both of them were in, and that SUV, and she was picked up from Linking Road in Bandra in Mumbai. Now, Linking Road is a very, very busy area. For anyone who's familiar with Mumbai will know. From there, she was picked up in the car, and then in the next 1 hour or so, what we now know from our sources within the police is that the murder actually took place, that she was actually strangled to death. Now, Sanjeev Khanna, we know in his defense, says that he has nothing to do with the murder and that he fell asleep. But what we now know is that after the murder was committed, the trio, in fact, Sanjeev Khanna, Indrani Mukherjee, and the driver who was driving the car, who is a crucial link in this entire investigation, they tried multiple routes to leave Mumbai and travel out of Mumbai so that they could dispose of the body.
Right.
But then there were multiple police checkpoints and nakas that had been put up, and the exit was not definitely an easy affair, which is why they had to backtrack their plan, and the body was kept in the boot of the car, and
Okay.
that car was parked at Peter Mukherjee
So there was a
residence
plan B
for the
as
whole
well.
of night of 24th of April.
There was clearly a plan B as well. It also reflects on how well planned this entire murder was. Getting in a legal point, Mr. C. Rajashekharan with us on the phone line. As a lawyer, sir, would you look at this as the first step that the police has taken in gathering in scientific proof, given the fact entire scene so far has only been built based on confessions?
Yeah, this is a case which the police have cracked now.
Mr. Rajashekharan, I apologize. We'll have to reconnect with you on this in just a bit. But Chandni, looking at the confessions that have come in as well, they've had 3 years to not just cover their tracks, but perhaps to also build up a story if at all they're caught. Based on what Sanjeev Khanna said in his confession, that yes, I was in Mumbai, I'm not denying it, but I'd come in for an entirely different purpose.
And I was asleep when the murder happened in the car. I mean, really, I haven't heard of anything like this. There are two ex-husbands who we've heard from. One who says that there was a murder committed in a car that he was in, but he was asleep. And another who, you know, metaphorically was asleep for 15 years, not knowing that his wife had 2 kids who she passed off as her siblings. So really astounding details coming out really on this case.
Karthik, at this point, would it be fair to weigh out the options on what proof, what evidence would work out stronger in the court? Would this be scientific proof based on the CDR, or one that they're trying to dig out at the Raigarh forest?
See, I see it very, very differently. So what is happening is that the police chanced upon this, and then the interrogation took place at the highest level. And then Seher, police is now trying to reconstruct everything from scratch. And the most important part here is that the police wants to, generally when you recreate sequences,
right,
the first thing which the defense lawyer does is to challenge it in terms of materiality of the supporting evidence.
Right.
They are trying to materially build evidence so that it stands in the court of law. You have to see the work of the police from that perspective. They are trying to build the material part of the evidence.
Certainly.
So that it stands in the court of law, because the words don't stand.
Absolutely.
You need evidence.
Stay with us, Karthik. Getting in yet another legal view on this, we have Mr. Majid Memon with us on the phone line. Thank you for being with us. This being the next step, this being a crucial step as far as studying the call records here is concerned and the mapping out.
See, number one, I must tell you that these are very sensitive matters. They are the matters of great significance when you are they are the matters of great significance when you are embarking upon collecting evidence in relation to a serious crime which is said to have occurred some years ago. So your job is, you see, enormously difficult. It is not easy to build up a case of such a serious kidnapping, murder, whatever it be, and then, successfully reach the culprits, then put them before the court, get the judicial scrutiny done, and successfully obtain conviction, which is not an easy job.
Right.
So the police definitely have an uphill task on their head now to perform.
That's right, already established.
Now, one very important thing I must convey through your medium is that, when you are collecting circumstantial evidence from different possible quarters, and naturally, as we say that if they visit now after 2 or 3 years, what are they expected to get there?
Right.
It is very difficult for them to collect anything. They should not fabricate their anxiety to build up a case by exaggeration or by, some kind of an overzealousness of creating some evidence would only ultimately result in failure of establishing the case.
Okay.
Whatever little evidence you have, please collect it in a proper way, in an honest way, in a legal way, and then place it for judicial scrutiny, and it is only the courts which should decide that as to the evidence which is brought is reliable or not.
All right, Mr. Memon, appreciate you saying that to us, saying that this is circumstantial evidence, but all the more crucial that it is collected judicially here. Going once again back to our news editor, Rishabh Gulati, and further breaking this down on the timings of the calls and how the 2 main accused were in touch and the locations that have been established there.
Okay, we've shown you the 12 calls. We are stitching together the cell tower locations, and after that I will stitch together the entire 9-day period between the 24th of April and the 3rd of May. Why is that crucial? I'll just tell you first the locations. We know now that at 3:40 p.m. when his flight landed and his phone switched on from the flight mode, I presume, of Sanjeev Khanna, this was on the 24th of April, he is caught at the airport. Then he goes to the Hilltop Hotel here. This is in Worli at the Hilltop Hotel. So this is the second cell phone location. After this, the third level, of course, becomes extremely crucial because Sanjeev has moved on. At a particular time after this, and we understand that that time is around 6 o'clock. Have a look at this. This is now just past 4 p.m. This is the location that both these individuals are located now in this cell tower zone. This is called a cell tower zone around Bandra, we understand, where the two individuals are located together. Indrani and Sanjeev Khanna's cell phones are within the same cell tower circuit, which means that that identifies that the two of them, or at least their cell phones, at least, were together at this particular time on the 24th of April. Now let's have a look beyond this, because we know the last call between Indrani and Sanjeev took place at about 6:10 p.m. Now that this is established that their cell phones at least were together in the same cell zone at that particular time in Bandra. Now let's go across and have a look at the sequence of events. I will tell you why day one is important. The day one is the day of the murder. 24th April 2012. We know that Indrani calls Sheena around 3:20 p.m. to Bandra. This is what the police have told us. Then Sheena reaches with Rahul. She calls up Indrani. There is a concern about where they want to take her in the car, but they eventually get her into the car. This is the last version that Rahul Mukherjee has given. Day one is very crucial, again for the principal reason, because on this day is the day that Sheena Bora has taken leave from Reliance. She goes on leave after this. Let's keep moving on quickly. Day two is when, of course, these individuals move out from there. There is a period of these 9 days, and the reason I'm tracking them, the period of 9 days from the 24th of April till the 3rd of May. Why the 3rd of May? Because on the 3rd of May, a very crucial letter is sent purportedly on the name of Sheena Bora, signed by her, saying that she's resigning from the job that she had at Reliance Metro. So these crucial days between the 25th, 24th of April and 3rd of May become extremely crucial, and we are breaking them down, and we shall continue to break them down on your screen one by one. Because if this woman, Sheena Bora, has been killed on the 24th of April, how is it that she is signing a letter dated the 3rd of May, resigning from a post at Reliance Metro? Very crucial evidence. Sair, back to you.
So building it up further, the entire sequence of events, not just on the night of the murder, 24th of April, but the following days, and how the impersonation, this being yet another charge there, Chandani, the impersonation of Sheena that has continued for at least a year, we are given to understand, through letters, through cell phone usage.
Yes, and worse than that, when Peter Mukherjee had spoken to us, he told us that on and off in the 3 years, he never questioned where Sheena was, because he was shown Facebook updates once in a while by Indrani, showing her celebrating Diwali somewhere, etc. This is not an impersonation that continued for a year. This is an impersonation and, a kind of lying that happened over 3 years. 3 years a girl disappeared and no one seemed to know where she was. This seems to be a very cleverly thought out plot and planning that has happened over a period of time. And just because there was a tip-off and this body was found, I think it would have continued forever, Said.
Right. Also, for how long should